Today would have been Shrimp Festival Friday if it had not been for COVID canceling Shrimp Festival this weekend. That's okay. We still got the day off from school, and my family and I had a great time at the lake today doing some boating and tubing and sailing and kayaking and all kinds of great things, and even eating hot dogs. But now it's time for me to get back to work and do homework, helping you all with this new lesson, Chapter 5, Lesson 1, Powers and Expressions. The content objective says students will write and evaluate powers. The suggested pacing says this will be a 2-day lesson, so let's get into it and see how long it really takes to go through these 16 objectives. A byte is one of the most basic units of measurement for information storage involving computers. Essentially, a byte is an on or an off, a 1 or a 0. A byte is so small that it holds the information of a single type letter. Most files contain information with a size that is hundreds of thousands of times greater than a byte. And that's a little misleading because it says a single type letter, but that's not exactly right because it is a combination of multiple bytes that make that type letter. The byte actually represents a single 1 or a single 0. That's it. That is 1 byte of information, and it takes a whole bunch of them even to write a single letter. Now a kilobyte, that would be equal to 10 to the third bytes, and it might hold the amount of information for a few photographs of text. Oh, excuse me, a few paragraphs of text, and that's about it. How can you make sense of the expression 10 to the third to verify that a kilobyte equals 1,000 bytes? These are some of the things we're going to learn about as we go through today's lesson. A product of like factors can be written in exponential form using an exponent and a base. A number expressed using exponents is going to be called your power. That looks like a vocab term. We're going to highlight that. And the base is the number used as your factor. That's going to be another vocab term. And then the exponent tells you how many times the base is going to be used as a factor. There's actually going to be 2 vocabulary quizzes in this chapter because we have 24 words that we have to do. With that, let's take a minute and watch this video on how to write an expression as a power.
To write the product of the repeated factor 3 as a power, express the number of times 3 is used as a factor as an exponent. The expression written as a power is 3 to the 4th power, or 3 to the 4th. The base is the common factor that is being multiplied. The exponent tells how many times the base is used as a factor.
Well, that's pretty simple, and that pretty well sums up how to do it. You count how many times each base occurs, and it has to be the same exact number or variable each time, and however many times it occurs, you use that as the exponent. Yes, it truly is going to be that simple to do these problems. So now we get to drag the terms into the appropriate spots. These 2 things right here, the 10s, well, that is going to be factors. You have 2 factors that you're multiplying, 10 times 10. However, this 10 over here, that is part of the power, so that's going to become our base. The 2, that's going to become our exponent, and the whole thing combined, well, that whole thing combined, that's going to end up being our base. So let's really put this into practice here. The problem says to write 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 using an exponent. How many 7s do you see there? I see 5 of them. Of course, here your base, that's going to end up being 7. It's being used as a factor 5 times, so you would write it as 7 to the 5th power. And that's really all there is to it. Let's make that a little bit bigger so y'all can actually see it, hopefully. Pretty easy stuff, isn't it? Now it's going to be your turn. Go ahead and solve this problem. Did you get it done? Well, let's see here. My base, that's going to end up being 12. 12 is being used to an exponent of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 12 to the 4th power. Accept and check. That's all there is to doing these problems. But what if you had fractions? Fractions do make things just a little bit trickier here because you have to use parentheses. In this case, you've got 2 to the 5th multiplied by itself 3 times, so it's going to be raised to the 3rd power. But if you just stuck a 3 on top of it, you'd have a real big issue because you'd only be cubing or raising to the 3rd power the 3, not the 5. To avoid this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to take and put that whole 2/5 inside parentheses. Of course, it's being used as a base 3 times. That part can check. And you can see right here, they took the 2/5 and put it in parentheses because the entire thing has to be multiplied times itself 3 times, or cubed. The 2 does and the 5 does. If you did not have your parentheses here, the only thing that you would be raising to a power of 3 would be the 2. And once again, it's going to be your turn to answer a problem. Do this one, write it as an exponent, check your answers. Did you do it? Alright, here's the deal. It says write using an exponent, and there it gave me what I needed here. First thing I need to ask myself is, am I doing a fraction here? No, I'm not. I'm just doing a decimal value. It's still just a number, so I don't have to take and make a parentheses with this one. I don't have to raise it or put it all inside of parentheses. Whoops, that's not what I needed. I need this one right here. 2 and 85/100ths to be multiplied times itself 4 times. So I'm going to hit accept and check. The answer checks. Super simple. So let's dig into this concept a little bit more. Write powers as products, determine the base and the exponent. The base of 3 squared is going to be 3 and the exponent is going to be 2. And to read powers, consider the exponent. The power 3 squared is read as 3 to the 2nd power, or 3 squared. The power 3 cubed is read as 3 to the 3rd power, or 3 cubed. But 3 to the 5th, it doesn't have any cool little names for it. It's just simply read as 3 to the 5th power. So to evaluate powers, we're going to find the value of the power after multiplying. So 5 to the 1st, that's just 5. And so your final answer is going to be 5. 5 squared, that's going to be 5 to the 2nd power of 5 squared, which is 5 times 5, otherwise known as 25. And I just realized my hateful family got rid of my yellow cursor. Hold on. Now maybe you can see it a little better. 5 cubed, that's 5 to the 3rd power, or 5 cubed, which is 5 times 5 times 5, or 125, and so on through 5 to the 4th power. Really simple stuff to do here. Now this is a really good talk about because this is a really common issue I see. And it says, what are some mistakes that could be made when evaluating 5 to the 3rd power? And the answer to that is people will very often do that as 5 times 3. It's not 5 times 3, it's 5 times 5 times 5. It's 5 times itself 3 times. So let's look at another example here. Now we're going the other direction. It says, what does 4 to the 5th mean? Well, you have a base of 4 and you have an exponent of 5. And what that's telling us is that we're using the 4 5 times. We're multiplying 4 times itself 5 times. So you can see right here they've expanded that out. 4 to the 5th, that's the same thing as 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. From there, if we were to simplify that, well, 4 times 4 is going to be 16. 16 times 4 is going to be 64. 64 times 4, that's going to be 256. And 256 times 4, that's going to be 800, 1016. Did I do that right in my head? I'll be impressed if I did. Oh, I didn't do it right in my head. All right, hold on. I was so close. It's actually 1024. Try it again, and it checks this time. Now a friend evaluates the expression 4 to the 5th power and arrives at the value of 20 for the solution. What did they do wrong? Your friend's not very good at math. What your friend did is they did 4 times 5 because 4 times 5 is 20. But 4 to the 5th, as we said, that's 1024. Alright folks, now it's going to be your turn to do another problem. This is going to be the last thing we do in part 1 of this video. And there's your problem. Go ahead and solve it. Go ahead. Well, that number is going to be 7 times 7 times 7. 7 times 7 is going to be 49. 49 times 7, that's going to be 280. Plus 9 times 7 is going to be, that's always a tough one for me, 63. So that's going to be 343. 343. Did I do that right in my head? I did that right in my head. And from there, we're going to take and stop this video, come back and watch part 2 so you know everything you need to know to be successful on tonight's homework.